The observation deck of station Kepler 442 offered a panoramic view of the swirling nebula beyond, but Security Officer Kanat wasn't admiring the scenery. His 4 eyes were fixed on the cafeteria surveillance feed, specifically on the human sitting at table 7. Bella Chen sat cross-legged on the polymer bench, her meal tray pushed to the center of the table. Around her, 5 Rithian cubs, their crystalline fur shimmering under the artificial lights, ate from her plate with their small, 3-fingered hands. The cubs chirped and whistled, their bioluminescent patches glowing soft blues and greens. Kanat's translator implant crackled as he muttered into his comm. "This is a security violation. Protocol 7-9 states no unauthorized feeding of station dependents." His partner, a grizzled Rithian named Jessic, glanced at the screen and clicked his mandibles in what might have been amusement. "The cubs seem happy. When have you ever seen them approach an off-worlder?" "That's precisely the problem," Kanat said, his thermal pits flaring. As a Saurian from the hot world of Thraxis Prime, he took protocols seriously. The galaxy ran on order, on established boundaries between species. Humans had only joined the galactic community 3 cycles ago, and they were already bending rules. He stood, his scaled tail balancing his 7-foot frame. "I'm going down there." The cafeteria hummed with the usual dinner crowd, Rithians, Saurians, a few Aquarian delegates in their mobile water suits, and a handful of humans. Bella didn't notice Kanat's approach. She was too busy showing one of the cubs how to properly grip a spork. "Excuse me," Kanat said, his voice carrying the characteristic rasp of his species. "Human Bella Chen?" She looked up, her dark eyes bright with surprise. The cubs immediately scattered behind her, peeking out nervously. "Yes, is something wrong?" "I need to ask why you're feeding station dependents. The Rithian cubs are under protective custody, while their colony ship undergoes repairs. They're not to be approached by unauthorized personnel." Bella blinked, then glanced at the cubs hiding behind her. They were hungry. "I shared my food." "You shared?" Kanat's head tilted, a gesture of confusion in Saurian body language. "Yes, they were watching me eat from across the room. They looked scared and hungry, so I offered them some of my meal." She smiled gently. "The smallest one, I call her Shimmer because of her sparkles, came first. Then the others followed." Kanat's translator struggled with the emotional nuance in her voice. "You understand you could be charged with interference in protected species management?" "I understand that children were hungry and I had food," Bella said calmly. She reached back and gently stroked Shimmer's crystalline fur. The cub didn't flinch. "Would you have me ignore them?" "Their caretakers provide adequate nutrition." "Their caretakers are dealing with a ship that nearly exploded," Bella interrupted, her voice firm but not hostile. "I've seen those caretakers. They're exhausted, traumatized, working triple shifts. These babies are scared and alone in a strange place." Kanat's thermal pits cooled slightly. He'd read the reports. The Rithian colony ship had suffered catastrophic engine failure. 37 adults dead, dozens more injured. The cubs had been temporarily housed on the station while repairs continued, a process that would take weeks. "Regulations exist for a reason," he said, but his conviction wavered. "So does compassion." Bella met his gaze steadily. "On Earth we have a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Maybe in the galaxy it takes a station." One of the cubs, a slightly larger male, crept forward and tugged on Kanat's uniform. The security officer froze. Rithian cubs were notoriously shy, especially around predator species like Saurians. They could sense body heat, could identify hunters by thermal signature alone. The cub chirped softly and pointed at Bella's tray, then at Kanat. "He's asking if you're hungry too," Bella translated, though her translator unit. "Shimmer taught them to share after I shared with them." Kanat stared at the small creature, looking up at him with trusting, multifaceted eyes. Something in his chest, perhaps where a human heart would be, constricted. I have already eaten," he said quietly. Bella smiled. "The offer stands. That's how it works. Once you share, the circle grows." The report Kanat filed that evening was terse. Investigated cafeteria incident. No security violation found. Human Bella Chen engaging in culturally appropriate caregiving behavior. Recommend revising protocols to allow supervised interaction between station residents and Rithian refugees. But the addendum he added to his personal log was longer. Observed human concept of sharing today. Not the trade-based resource exchange common in galactic society, but unconditional offering without expectation of return. Human subject shared food with Rithian cubs, creating trust bond in minutes, something Rithian adult caretakers struggling to achieve in weeks. Cubs subsequently attempted to share with me, a potential predator species. Hypothesis: human socialization patterns based on communal resource distribution may explain their rapid integration into galactic community. Where other species form alliances through contract and mutual benefit, humans form bonds through vulnerability and generosity. Further observation recommended. 3 weeks later, when the Rithian colony ship departed with its repaired engines, every one of the 37 cubs came to say goodbye to Bella. They brought her gifts made from scraps, twisted wire sculptures, drawings on recycled data pads, a necklace of polished bolts. Canet watched from the docking bay control room. Beside him, Administrator Vexel, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline matrix, hummed thoughtfully. The human changed station culture in 21 days, Vexel observed. Now I see Aquarians sharing breathing mixture with oxygen breathers who run low, Saurians offering heat stones to cold world species, all mimicking her behavior. Because she shared first, Kanat said softly, finally understanding. Yes, Vexil agreed. Humans are dangerous that way. They make kindness contagious. Kanat's thermal pits warmed with something that might have been pride. He'd filed 6 more recommendations in the past weeks, all inspired by watching Bella. The galactic community had protocols for war, for trade, for territory. Perhaps it was time they developed protocols for compassion. Down in the docking bay, Bella hugged each cub goodbye, tears streaming down her face. The cub's bioluminescent patches pulsed in synchronization, a Rithian expression of love and gratitude. Canet touched his comm badge. Security Officer Canet to human Bella Chen. She looked up, touching her own badge. Yes? Thank you, he said simply, for teaching us to share. Through the comm, he heard her gentle laugh. You're welcome, Canet. That's what humans do. We share first and see what grows. What grew, Canet thought, was hope, and that was worth more than all the protocols in the galaxy. End.